here we go. Hello, everybody. So I've been in this room for a while now, and you guys don't really talk. First thing we do, so please shake up, move up. You can come forward. I smell nice. I shower. Brazilians shower twice a day, so you can come closer if you want. I don't want to feel lonely. I recently moved to Stockholm, and I know I'm gonna freeze, so the more people, the better, so that it doesn't go cold. All right. And another thing, one of my good friends, the evangelist for Default, yeah, Oleg over there, he gave me some things, like souvenirs, to give to people that ask questions, because I do want you guys to interact with me, so you're gonna have to talk if you want freebies. Good stuff. So, hello. I hope Google helped me out with these sentences, because I actually don't even know how to pronounce, but the hey. And, well, why am I here in front of you talking about Latin America? I was born in Brazil, Sao Paulo, which is a quite big city. Do I have anybody here that has ever been to Brazil? Can you raise your hand? All right, I have three intelligent people, good job. And I worked there most of my life, of course, but I have also moved to Mexico, and I worked at a company called Square Enix over there. Did some publishing for the Latin American market and worked with the Final Fantasy franchise as well. Then I kind of wanted to move around a little bit more, so I moved to Chile, who's also in South America, and worked a company there with console development alongside with Activision and Bethesda. I'm not sure if you heard those names as well. Then I was a bit tired of the hot and cool people and dancing skills. I moved to Germany, which doesn't have that. But I worked there for a little bit with RPGs in mobile free-to-play, and now I have joined King in Stockholm to do a little bit of the same. So that's why I'm here, because I've been working in 3 different countries. I've worked with a lot of people. I worked with Argentina, so on and so forth. And to give you some insights about Latin America, where is exactly that and what countries do we have? So can you help me? Which countries do we have there? Please say Brazil first. All right, thank you guys. Brazil, yes. Any other countries you can remember? Argentina, what else? Bolivia, okay, okay. More? Okay, big one that Trump doesn't like. Mexico, okay, so we got Mexico, we have Argentina, we have Chile, we have Colombia, we have Peru, and we have many more like Bolivia, Guatemala, so on and so forth. But I put the 6th over there because they are the most important markets in mobile games. They're actually the one that play the most, consume the most, and access the internet the most, which is super important, right, for us. Okay. So that means that in Latin America, we have these many people online. They have access to the internet. They're there basically daily. And yeah, they could be actually playing your product right now. Hopefully they're playing mine. But yeah, it's a lot of people, right? It's a lot of people that have access to the internet. And if you think about it, they can generate revenue. I think on the panel early on, I talked about they asked me, okay, what is it like, you know, there and publishing and everything? And yes, it's not as advanced as it is in Europe or as advanced as it is in North America because of infrastructure and technology. But if you think about, if these many people are online today, imagine tomorrow and the day after and the day after. Let's talk about some numbers, because I know that people like numbers, right? Last year, this is 1 year, this was the amount of money, the revenue from gaming in South America. So it feels like, I mean, a lot of money. Anybody interested in having that in your pocket? Nobody wants money. You want money. Yeah, me too. I would like to have a piece of that, right? What? We can share it? Great, yeah. You buy me dinner then. This is how many gamers we have in all platforms, which I also think, I mean, from that number, how many people are actually playing it, it's like, sounds considerable. I also would like to have this number of people playing my game. And from 2014 to 2015, there was a 20% increase on year over year. And this data, most of it, I got from our beautiful friends at Newzoo. So everything is open there. Check it out. They're awesome. They're not paying me for this, but yeah, they're awesome. Cool. What I want to do is, because I don't have that much time, and I've been talking about Latin America for some time now in different talks, I want to give you some keywords specific. I don't want to tell you how to bring your game to Latin America, because frankly, I left Brazil 3 years ago, and I'm not the expert. I'm learning with you guys. But as from a person that's there and goes there constantly, I want to share some keywords that might help you get what you need over there. Sounds good? Sounds good? Good. Thanks. I wear contacts anyway, so I can't really see if you guys are nodding. All right, first keyword, payment methods. So here's the fun fact, right? Living in Germany, I remember the day I arrived in Europe. It was my first time in Europe ever last year. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so fancy. I'm going to live in Europe. And I got there and I thought that everything would be super technological and everything would be like, you know, credit cards, Apple Pay, finally Apple Pay. No. They use cash, basically. But when I moved to Stockholm, yes, everything on credit card. I used to go to places that wouldn't take cash. I couldn't pay with a bill, which is completely the opposite where I come from. So if we talk about credit card, not everybody has that. Of course, more and more in cities like Sao Paulo, cities like Mexico City, where the big chunk of population is, they do have it, but the taxes, the interest, and all the rates are insane. So that's not the most common thing for people to use, and that's super important if you're making games in which you will actually want to make money out of it. Do not solely base yourself on that. If you only go with a credit card, you are leaving a huge part of the population outside. You're not even giving them the chance of spending money in your game. And this is a Portuguese word. It's called boleto bancário, and that means that it's the biggest payment method in Brazil. It's like this. You make a purchase, you receive on your email or by mail this piece of paper with a code, and then you go somewhere at the bank or some shops, and then you pay for it. And then you get your bonus or your items or everything later on. This helps because a lot of people, like I said, don't have credit card, but they have money in their account, and they want to be able to purchase. And this is a cheaper way of doing it. So if you ever want to go there, research this term. It can get you, and it can help you broaden up your monetization. You there? All right. Exchange rate. So here's something also funny, and I learned that a lot. So like I said, I work with the Final Fantasy franchise. Have you played it? Ish? I never finished one, to say that, but I worked with it. And we were studying how to bring Final Fantasy IV to mobile Brazil, right? And as you know, Final Fantasy games are quite expensive in the App Store. I don't know if you ever looked at it. It's not $1.99 or $0.99, right? But there was this problem. Why wasn't anybody in Latin America buying the game? What was wrong with it? Well, if you multiply $1 or €1 to the local currency, it's not that cheap. So you need to have a study on the exchange rate. What actually a dollar is worth there? It's much more than a cup of coffee. It's much more than, so it's very expensive. And what we did, we tried to run an experiment. We lowered the cost and said, okay, let's see how many can we sell, leaving the game a little bit cheaper for this period of time. And it doubled what we thought. Our predictions were doubled because it was actually then accessible. It wasn't that expensive. Of course, right? If you think about, what do you want to play? I want to buy something on my phone. It's so expensive. Is it going to be worth it? Am I going to play? No, maybe I want to buy something for my console, because piracy has gone down, and now I actually prefer that. So if you're bringing your app, or if you're bringing your in-app purchases and things over there, look at the exchange rate and the value of things, because your game may not be making money because it's just too expensive. Fees and taxes, yes. And somebody asked it before, you know, you need to be aware. Yes, there's a lot of taxes, there's a lot of fees in Brazil. There are not that many in Chile, for instance. And that's why there are some interesting companies over there. Like before that, Bethesda was doing business when I was in Chile, and we were developing together. So you need to look at the different countries and see what's the difference between fees and taxes, because maybe you want to publish in one area, you don't want to publish in another, you want to soft launch in one area, you don't want to do in another one. Cool? Cool, Sabrina, yay. Okay, second thing, digital habits, right? And that's a very interesting thing, because I went back to Brazil this year to visit family, and I was used to going to the metro in Stockholm or in Germany or even like in London, and people are on their phones and they're like checking their Facebook feed, and then they instantly change to a mid-core title or something like that, or Candy Crush. But most of the people were like playing heavily now. Pokemon Go, everybody's doing that. And then when I went back to Brazil, I was like, oh, I wonder what they do, right? It's absolutely the same. So first things first, social media. Do you know which country has more users online actively daily on Facebook in the world? Yes, good job. Otherwise, I would never have asked this question here. Come on, guys. Yes, Brazil, actually, very social. Mexicans, very social. So they are constantly on social media. Doesn't mean only Facebook, means Instagram, means Twitter, means Snapchat. I don't know if any of you has seen, but Brazilians can make things go viral very easily. The Olympics, I think, was kind of a massive success online. Of course, now we have more resources. But the number of people talking about it, it was great, it was huge. So that's one thing for you to think. Because the consequence of that is this: social games. We want to play together. We want to play together. And I thought it was great. In the morning, there was a panel about, or somebody was talking about VR. And they said, oh yeah, but if you put the VR as an isolation experience, because then you're alone, right? I think for us, or at least for most of the Latin, that would be a deal breaker. We do want to send the extra life. We need your troops, and so on and so forth. So if you need to look at social games, doesn't mean they're casual, but it means that you play together, or even better, against. The pleasure of defeating an Argentinian, there is no price. Any Argentinians here? Good, because there's no price in that. And I don't know if you have that, but for us, it's just delicious. And let's talk about web and mobile. So there's this thing in Brazil. We have a lot of carriers. And if you buy for carrier A, for example, you can make this plan in which you do not pay to send text messages or calls to that same carrier, and vice versa, right? So what happens? People have 2 phones or 3 phones because their work people have this carrier, their friends have the other carrier, and their crush have the other carrier. So they actually have more than 1 phone, which is crazy. But social media is more accessed by their phones than by the internet, than by actually the computer. You're sitting down on a desktop. However, they play a lot of web games. It's much easier for Latins to play on web than downloading everything because of piracy as well. So it's really hard. Companies are closing down. They do play on web, sometimes during work. Guilty. I work with this, so I can. And Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is super important. Right now, it's changing. I've been to Mexico also, and they have actually a lot of Wi-Fi hotspots, and I was surprised. I could spend a month, my first month, without a phone line. Yes, visa issues, but without a phone line, and survive only with the Wi-Fi. I didn't even have Wi-Fi at home, but I could have it at every single cafe. Any Starbucks or any other coffee in the place, they have Wi-Fi. And that's where most people will connect, because data is so expensive. If you make a game that you need to be connected 24/7, that is going to cost at the end, and people are going to churn because it's super expensive. Their data plan is going to go, and they need to play on Wi-Fi. That's why games like Pokemon go really viral, and then there's a really big churning happening, at least in Latin America, because they can't be connected all the time, and you have to walk around, and well, I'd rather save my data for my Facebook or my WhatsApp. Make sense? All right, you guys are actually talking. I feel flattered. Thank you, guys, really. Okay, localization, which, yeah, should be obvious, but it isn't. So here's my experience. Does anybody know what this word means? Yeah? Okay. Do you want to? Okay, I'll talk about it. So funny fact, right? I lived about 1.5 years in Mexico when I was at Square Enix, and because they had the office there, and I really like tacos. And I learned how to speak Spanish, because it's all the same, right? Very wrong. I moved to Chile, so we're not talking about coming to Europe, right? I moved to Chile, and I got there, and I did one of the interviews in Spanish, and I was super nervous. And then I was like, yeah, no, I can totally work in Spanish. I didn't understand anything they were saying. These is actually the same word. It means like bro, dude, or something. English is not my language. But that's important because if you localize something and you bring from Spanish from Spain, it could be a lot of things that they just will be like, nah, this is not for me. Even if you Mexicanize your app or your game and you go to Argentina and Chile, they will still say, this is not for me. That's why it's super important that if you're targeting, know your language, know who you're talking to. Please, I don't speak Spanish. I do because I live there, but I speak Portuguese. And no, it's not the same from Portuguese from Portugal. I still have a hard time when they come and talk to me. And then, when you feel embarrassed that you don't understand, and you're like, because we speak the same language, but it's different. If you bring your game localized, and you hire those big companies, oh yeah, we do all markets, and you bring from Portuguese from Portugal, you will lose a big chunk. First, because we will make fun of it. We're like, you don't know what you're talking to. Second, because it's not interesting. And besides, there's all the culture on it. Latin America is so much more than beach, soccer, and women. This is very offensive for us. Don't go there like this. I didn't even live in a city with a beach, believe it or not. So, take in consideration what are they talking, what are they consuming, what are they looking at. It's the same movies. They're playing Clash of Clans. They're playing Clash Royale. They are playing Candy Crush. It's the same things, but with a different approach, much more social. If you look at any charts, you will see, it could be App Annie, it could be anything. You will see that apps that are most downloadable, of course, Facebook, Spotify, music is super important over there. So look at the culture the way it is. And then community. You guys know League of Legends?
Yes.
You gotta get a present. Yeah, so do you know how many people actually go to the stadium in Brazil to see the tournament? It's hundreds of thousands. It's like a, there's a big stadium called Maracanã that's in Rio. That's where the World Cup final was in. They do it there, so you have an idea. And it's all about the sense of community. If you create your Facebook page and you talk to them, they will reply. If you have your Twitter, they will talk to you. Because that's what they want. They want to feel connected. It's all about social. Getting more people. Maybe the next talk must be very interesting. Okay, so I want to open up for questions because I have things. And I want to say Quitos, is that it? Quitos, yes, cool. So please, questions? Clap, maybe? Sorry, I'm Brazilian.
I've just so much enjoyed this culture clash. I could watch this for hours. It's really good. But no, it's cool. So do you have questions? Come on, I have a question. She's got things to give out here. This is.
I don't really have a question.
He's got a question. Yeah, he's in.
I don't really have a question, but I have a comment.
You have a comment?
Yeah, you mentioned about the. Thank you.
Yeah.
Take this back.
All right.
You mentioned about the Brazilians that want to be social. Okay, sorry. You mentioned that the Brazilians want to be social, and the AR headsets really kind of disengage that social aspect.
Yeah.
But do you not find that when your eyes are on your page, on your phone anyway, you're kind of engaged in that handset? So putting a headset on and being immersed in the actual game is just the same as bending your head down and looking down at your phone. So
yeah.
It doesn't actually take, I'm not defending it, or I'm
No,
not,
yeah, go ahead.
but I'm just wanted to kind of question it. It's still social, in my mind.
Yeah, I think depends on the game, right?
Yeah.
If I put a headset and I'm playing by myself, or I'm playing by myself on my phone, doesn't really matter. But it depends what your game does. If you put a headset on and you're playing something with other people, that's brilliant. That's it. And besides, there's a lot of people using VR in Brazil. There's a big community. They actually have a conference happening right now, free-for-all entrance of VR in Sao Paulo. And it's amazing because it's a super huge trend. However, it will churn if it's not that social connected.
But it's social inside the game.
Yeah, and that makes perfect sense.
You're ruling it, you know?
Yeah,
So
that's perfect.
That's
what I'm saying is, single player games might not make as much money as cooperative or multiplayer games.
Thank you.
No problem.
Cool. One more question. This is gifts. It's very clever. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, see?
You know the trick.
Know the audience. Yes.
In Latin America, the countries that you've lived in and worked in,
Yeah.
how acceptable is it for adult population to play games?
Very acceptable.
Okay.
So this morning I gave an example. My dad is, I'm not going to say his age, but my dad, because then it reveals mine, he's a huge game addict. He plays more than me, right? Literally more than me. My mom plays a lot as well. Different games, but the amount of people that actually, I know this, but the amount of people that actually plays Candy Crush over there, it's huge. And they're all over, let's say, older population. And it's a huge market. It's a huge market.
So what we learned there is that men in their mid-40s play games. That's cool. Okay. If you want to get more cool stuff,
You can have one
I'll
if
have
you
one.
want.
You
want it, right?
I'm intrigued. Sabrina will be outside to answer questions, and she'll be very bubbly and
And let's
chatty.
grab a beer later today.
And we'll grab a beer later. So thank you very much, Sabrina. That's brilliant.